Let's go now to a big issue impacting consumers right across the country, and it's only going to get worse. Now, over the past couple of months, if you've got a diesel car like me, you will know it's gone up. In fact, it's gone up by 23%. Now, forget people like us filling up the car or the SUV. This is the hit to industry that will deliver cost of living pain, because diesel's a key input into our economy. Farmers use it, you know that, industry uses it, commuters use it, of course, and truckies, who are the lifeblood of our consumer economy. They get the goods from the port and the farms and the factories to where we buy them. Well, they use it more than anyone else. Meaning when diesel goes up, the price of everything we buy goes up, which of course increases inflation. And that in turn puts more pressure on the Reserve Bank to lift interest rates to get it all under control. It's a highly circular argument, but right in the middle of that is our truckers. Joining me now is one of them, Allan Thornley, Managing Director of one of Australia's biggest and most important trucking companies, Shaw's Darwin Transport. Allan, thank you for your time. I hope I wasn't just telling people what they already know, but I want to underscore how critical you are to making everything move in our economy, the trucking industry, and the fact that diesel makes up about 30% of a trucking company's cost base. So when it gets up, you've either got one choice, bear the cost on your bottom line, or pass it through to consumers. In your instance, give us a sense of what this cost increase is doing to your own business. How much has your fuel bill, for example, gone up?
Okay, so if we go back to June, fuel bill, we buy 700,000 litres a month to burn it. June cost was $1.1 million. If you go through to September, it's going to be about 1.35. So I've got to find an extra $250,000 this month for fuel. That's it in a nutshell. I mean, there's this thought that you can just wear it out of your margin, but trucking companies operate on a net profit about 3 or 4%. So if you've got a cost input that goes up more than 3 or 4%, you've got no profit left. Now, fuel's gone up 23%. 30% of operating cost is fuel. They're round numbers, so move a few percent for different businesses. Indicative, they're that level. That impacts your selling price by 7%. So the load that you delivered in September, if you didn't charge 7% more than the same load in July, you've not recovered your fuel cost and you're technically going broke. It's that simple.
All right, so there's 7% now. It could be more than that by Christmas, and of course then it just keeps going and going. Give us a sense of the size of your operation and what these fluctuations mean. I mean, are you passing this 7% through? And if you are, what's that doing to your contracts?
Okay, we are passing it through as much as possible. We have to, otherwise we go broke. So we run a fuel surcharge on all our customer accounts, and that varies each week depending on what our national buying price average is for the previous week. So I think it drives their customers nuts because we're changing the price all the time, but as fuel goes up, so does the fuel surcharge. As fuel goes down, the fuel surcharge comes back off straight away. A lot of people run monthly fuel surcharges. When you see the rate of increase that we're seeing now, they're out of pocket because they're not recovering the increases quick enough. So yeah, when you're talking the sort of money we're talking, you've got to get the money recovered, otherwise you go broke. And, we're not alone. Every trucking company is facing exactly the same problem. And our customers need to understand that we're not passing on the fuel increase for fun. We're doing it because we have to. The other side of it is that every time we put through a price increase, we know that some business is going to disappear because it becomes unsustainable. And that's the other side of it. Things disappear off supermarket shelves because the people that supply them can't afford to get them to the supermarket shelves. When they get there, the customer said, well, it's too dear, I'm not going to buy it. It's just a very...
Yeah, it's not just you. It's not just you moving it around the country. I'm also mindful of farmers who, the cost of putting the sheep to the sale yards for the cost they're getting for the head at the moment for lambs and things makes it just not viable. And there's that heart-wrenching decision that they're worth more dead in the paddock than the cost it is to get them to market. But as I understand it, we import about 90% of our diesel from Asia. So what can government do here? What can regulators do? Is there anything that can be done here? Or are consumers going to cop it in the neck?
I don't think there's a lot that can be done unless the government's prepared to reduce the fuel excise. That's probably what they should do, but chances of that are pretty slim. I mean, you look at back in June when fuel without GST was $1.50, the government was getting 15 cents a litre in GST. Now there's $2 a litre, getting 20 cents a litre for GST. They've done nothing, but they're reaping 25% more revenue. That's coming straight out of consumers' pockets. We've got to pay it. It's got to pass on to the customer. The customer's got to pay it. It's just part of the tax grab throughout the whole scheme of business.
Yeah, spot on. I've got to leave there, Allan, but I really appreciate you taking the time to help us all understand what it's like for you and the trucking industry more broadly. Thank you for your time, Allan Thornley there. We'll stay across that issue. So when Jim Chalmers crows about the surplus, that's where the surplus is coming from. Taxes and resources and, all the stuff we can't use here. Coal and oil and gas.